Like, should we do Green Room? Should we go from a stark contrast to another?
If you want to.
Looks like we tripped our main. Backup Jenny's fired. I bet we're gonna have to call it a day. Do some troubleshooting. We'll try again on Sunday. No door charge. Hell, free drinks from 2 to 4. Those of you attending the racial advocacy workshop on Wednesday, assume it's on unless you hear otherwise. And remember, this is a movement, not a party. All right. Stay safe. Godspeed.
That's Patrick Stewart addressing his people, I suppose.
Peeps.
In the club in Green Room.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So yeah, Green Room is another film by Jeremy Saulnier, who did Blue Ruin, which is one of my favourite films of the past few years. And finally, we get to see Patrick Stewart as a neo-Nazi, which is just fantastic.
It's something I didn't know I wanted, but now that I've got it, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad this happened.
Yeah.
This is a horror thriller basically where Patrick Stewart is a club owner, and basically in his club in the backwoods of Oregon, they are welcoming a band called the Ain't Rights. They're a punk band, and basically this club is sort of a haven for like a neo-Nazi group, the far right, and essentially they witness an incident to the band when they're in the Green Room, and they are kept in there for their own safety as the Patrick Stewart, the club owner, and his
Clean-up crew.
Decide what to do with them, and it slowly disintegrates and degenerates from there. Now, Green Room is, it's a short film.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the most thing we have to do. It's only on for an hour 34 minutes.
It's not literally a short film, it's like short compared to like Lawrence
short compared to the norm nowadays. There was an interesting study about that actually, that average film length has increased exponentially in recent years, which is obviously, I guess people just want more value for money in their cinema trips. So that's just another discussion.
So many more superhero films.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but in this one, it's the best description I've seen for before the film was it's a sharp, shock.
Sharp.
It's a short, sharp shock.
Yes.
There you go. And in fairness, that's what you do get. But unfortunately, I didn't feel like this film was anywhere near the standard of Blue Ruin. I feel like leaving the film, this was a major disappointment to me because I feel like it just does not take a breather that Blue Ruin did. Because in Blue Ruin, the reason why I loved that so much was because it has intense moments of violence, but there are plenty of breathing moments. And I feel like in this one, it just doesn't take that time to consider itself, and I feel like you don't care enough about the characters going into all of this like ultra violence as you should. And I feel like, okay, this is kind of happening, and as you sort of get to know the characters, they're sort of, things happen, and you don't get the gravitas of that, because I feel like, the main sort of hook of this film is that they are trapped in this Green Room as Patrick Stewart and his crew decide how to deal with there, and I think you can figure out what that deal is. And essentially it keeps cutting back outside to Patrick Stewart and his crew trying to figure out what to do towards the crew in the Green Room, and it keeps cutting back between those two venues, and I feel like it takes away a lot of the tension that scenes have, because when you're always knowing what Patrick Stewart and his buddies are planning to do, it takes away a lot of the tension from that scene. I feel like one of the most powerful scenes in the film, probably the most tense, is when they're handing a gun over in one of the very first scenes before things go sour. And I feel like it's probably my favourite scene in the film, because a lot of the scenes in the film, it makes sure to cut back to Patrick Stewart and his cronies before it returns to the Green Room. And I feel like because of that, it loses a lot of the tension for me. Patrick Stewart is really good as a neo-Nazi, and I was wondering, like, yeah, there you go. I can't believe I've said that, but I didn't realise maybe from Arrested Development was actually that was her. Like, I was wondering, like, am I just seeing things, or is that actually? But yeah, it is. Obviously I should have guessed it, because obviously she was in Arrested Development growing up like that, and Broad City, like that, growing up. But I feel like they were good. They were fine. But I feel like, just for me, it wasn't as tense as I wanted it to be, and there could have been a lot more, because it went far too fast for me to get any sort of weight out of it. It just sort of happened, and you didn't get to get into enough of the characters or to care about any of the situations. It was sort of like, oh look, here's a bit of violence, here's a bit of gore. It just didn't have any weight for me at all. It was fine, I suppose, and there were moments of tension, but I feel like it could have been a lot more, and I feel like this is probably the first big disappointment of 2016 for me.
Blimey. Joe?
Yeah, I pretty much feel the same way. Obviously it is a very short film, but for the shortness, I think, they should have 100% pretty much just stayed inside either the room or the kind of, is it like a massive bar or something? They just stayed there. I reckon, because the problem was, the only tension-filled bit was that bit with the gun, and that
Mhm.
obviously what happens, I'm not spoiled, but like it genuinely did shock me, and I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to see what happens next. And I think there were probably ways you could have 100% got all the other plot points about what they were going to do with Patrick Stewart and stuff like that. You could have got that while still kind of remaining inside the pub, and like I think as soon as they kept on just cutting out, I mean, I think maybe once or twice would have been fine, but they do it about 4 or 5 times, and every time it just kind of, oh, so this is going to happen now, and it just happened, and it just ruined it.
Did
really.
it keep occurring?
It just ruined it because it just, okay, that happens. Sweet.
Did it keep occurring to you like near the start as how stupid these people were? Like how much they kept making the situation so much worse?
As you would.
Like
in that situation, you tell me you wouldn't do the exact same things.
No, but I don't know.
It's the pressure of the situation, and that's why I think that. Well, now that you said that, makes me.
No. Go on. It's your turn.
I think the film succeeds. I think it does have breathing room, like very small points of breathing room, and I think that's fine because like it goes at such a breakneck pace that I think it doesn't need to have that much. And I agree that the characters are like possibly quite stupid, but it's like it's part of the trope, I suppose.
Yeah.
I have less problems with it than you do. There's definitely points where it could be more tense. And I definitely think if it stayed entirely inside, then that would have been like I like things that are very self-contained like that. And maybe some of the air gets let out. But I think like in terms of like I sort of Connor, because Connor just happened to be there at the same time, which is sitting next to us, and we were both kind of like really really tensed up, and the film had the effect on me.
Yeah, I didn't feel that at all. Like as soon as you get that distance, that's it. It goes. Because then,
I do know what you mean.
Because say for example, some of the things that happen in the film, if they just happened without like prior knowledge of okay, do this, do that, then it would just be like whoa, and then you were just expecting what to come next, and you could have easily got it. Well, like I said, still remaining. I mean, like obviously there's the scene where it's not really a spoiler because it's bound to happen. They do kind of get out of the room in some aspects, and there's like because they kind of go underground, and that's like an extra plot point. But yeah, I reckon they could have overheard or done something else while still remaining with the characters themselves. But it just I only had that like one moment of tension.
I think Imogen, Poots, and Anton Yelchin were incredibly weak as well as the lead characters. I didn't really feel any sort of drama for
Imogen
them at
Poots
all.
played it quite distant, didn't she? She was kind of like from the very moment you meet her, she's already kind of resigned at the situation.
Sort of aloof to it all.
Yeah.
But I really don't know why.
I'm surprised. Yeah.
I really don't know why I didn't feel it. I mean, I feel like just because of how good Blue Ruin was and how good I was expecting this to be, I just felt this was such an anticlimactic step down from his previous film. And I feel like this is. I mean, obviously it's not bad. It's certainly dramatic, and it's certainly a good little watch for the short time it's on. But I feel like it had so much potential, and it just wasted that.
That's Green Room. Anyway, well, I recommend it. But what about you guys?
Oh yeah, I'd recommend it. Yeah, just don't expect as much tension as you're being told.
Fair enough.